will be pushed off the table today. Hopefully, FNATIC for Damwon in this one. Let's see which map we're going to be playing on in this series. Reminder for everybody at home, this is a best-of-1 series with new overtime rules. Very important to remember that. If you go to overtime, you guarantee yourself at least 1 point. And if you win an OT, you get 2. So it's something to work with. You don't want to go to it. And there it is. All right. Damwon will ban out Clubhouse to take us to Oregon as our usual 50-50 map. Jess, what's going on? I saw you gasping.
The first map to pop up was Coastline, and that's FNATIC's best map, and they banned it. So I don't really know.
I'll leave it for later, man, against C9.
I mean,
maybe they're like, we don't want to show it yet. I don't know. What do you think?
It could be that. It could be it's a very aggro map, and they don't want to go up against that team on something where ping might be a factor against a team that can swing and a team that's comfortable swinging onto angles. Something heavier, brick and mortar, might have been a better play from their books. But at the same time, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also surprised that Damwon didn't want to take them to Clubhouse, considering FNATIC, from at least the stats I have here, have almost never won Clubhouse. In fact, it's almost 100% loss rate on Clubhouse that FNATIC has. So if I'm a team sitting there and I'm going, oh my God, the last 2 maps I have to pick from, one of them is Clubhouse. Was that by design? And FNATIC have been practicing that heavily in the off-season, and that's what Damwon read into and said, no, we don't want to do this. This is not something we think is the right choice. We'll go elsewhere. Are they baiting us into taking Clubhouse? That's a possibility, but it also makes me wonder, if you had told me just throwing up these maps, I would have thought this was for another match. Absolutely.
All right. Quite understandable. Actually, if we're looking at our admin information here, looks like Damwon also are going for the attacking side. FNATIC picking up defense. Naturally. Now, do you think this has much of an impact given that it's Oregon?
No, Oregon is constant. Oregon is the beating heart of attack and defense. It's steady, and the reason we saw it so often in a best-of-1 situation is because teams feel like they can go into it with their pick and not be too hindered starting on their attacks and being able to make something happen, unlike other maps where it feels like you're really having to struggle on your attacks. Oregon can be played well for attacking teams, and it gives you a little bit more mobility, and it gives you a little bit more choice and option for when you head over to your defense, because you can probably get a little bit more of a swing. So, no, Oregon is, I'm not going to say even, but it's much closer than a lot of other places.
Okay, final 20 seconds here. Let's wrap it up. Jess, what do you think Damwon needs to do to win this quickly?
Just play like they played in relegations, and they'll flatten FNATIC, unfortunately.
No. Fluke, anything FNATIC can respond to that?
Hey, let's see what the French can do.
You would not be saying that normally, but yes, there is a French player playing from Taipei with an Australian team that is looking to move to Japan.
Replacing a Singaporean, no, it's all right.
A Chinese player who's living in Singapore.
Siege brings the world together.
Of course, yeah.
Exactly, that's what it is. So, Jess, Fluke, thank you so much for your intel on game number 1. We are ready to go and toss it over to our casters. Our first ever game here in 2021, APAC North League. It's Des and Ace. Please, gentlemen, take us through FNATIC versus Damwon.
Thank you very much, Milos. Welcome back to the boys once more on cast, the British boys at that. Game 1, as he said, of APAC 2021 is going to be FNATIC, a well-recognised name in the game versus a completely new organisation to step into the scene, but one that's carrying quite a bit of weight behind it. The big question that sits here, Ace, is does fresh blood trump over existing talent? I guess we'll find out here, and the addition of Alfama no doubt going to be the big storyline that we're all watching for in this game.
We will, and it's an exciting prospect as you talk about fresh blood, and you've got to remember it's all fresh to me. It's the same as coming into LATAM last season, and I know how much I fell in love with that region, and I am certain that this is going to be absolutely no different. This is my baptism into APAC North, and I cannot wait for it. Des absolutely bounced out of bed this morning, ready for this matchup and the rest that we are going to see through the day. But as you say, we are coming in now to FNATIC versus Damwon. We're going to be playing it out on Oregon, and I love Oregon. For me, it's Morrigan. I'm all about it. and I can't wait to see this one play out.
I was the same as you for the longest time. I wanted Morrigan, and then I was like, right, now I've seen it so much, 4 or 5 maps in a row. Now it's enough again. It's never again now. Whatever the hell we want to go into here, there's all kinds of ways to describe it. Audience vote, as you saw, by the way, 89% in favor of FNATIC, and currently the poll in Twitch chat is 81% to 19% with those channel points. So there's a fair balance here towards saying that FNATIC should come out on top comfortably. Jess doesn't seem so convinced.
As I've always said, there are 2 teams in the server. That's what's got to be remembered. And, we come in here with expectations. We had it yesterday in EUL. It'll happen next week in NA. It happens everywhere around the world. There are always expectations placed on certain teams. But the point is, you've still got to deliver. And that's what makes a good team a great team. Being able to turn up and actually convert those matches where you're expected to win, where it should be an easy result. That is where titles can be won and lost. You can look back through a season, and those games where you should have picked up points but didn't can be a big factor. Let's not forget, as we've said, FNATIC have got some geographical, issues. It's, it's certainly better than it has been, but it's still potentially a factor for them. And it's not all plain sailing. You've got to come in and you've got to get the result, but I just can't wait for my first Oregon of the season. Let's go.
Well, you're not going to be missing it for much longer, Aces. We are now into it. Round number 1 coming up. We're starting off in the basement. Laundry and Supply with FNATIC kicking things off on defense. And just on that little snippet we were talking about there, FNATIC about a year ago when they announced they were joining the APAC North League said they were moving to Japan. Got quite a fan base over there. It's really interesting, actually. I don't want to say celebrity culture, but there are a lot of very, very popular content creators or, I suppose community figures that do YouTube videos and such like that for Siege over there that also play in APAC North. And given the popularity of players like Mag at the minute, it's no surprise at all that they wanted to get in on at the scene over there in Japan. They're still waiting, though, to actually get their chance to move there, given COVID has kind of put a dent in those plans for a short while.
Heading into round 1 we go then, almost towards the action phase. We see FNATIC just getting themselves set up. Interesting, we've got a Goyo on the board, so it'll be fascinating to watch exactly what and where Lusty does with those shields. It looks like we've got one just placed, both placed out towards the bunker, so they're obviously expecting a lot of attention from that side. Now, Laundry and Supply is always a site that fascinates me, Des. I know that it's one that you've studied in quite a lot of depth, particularly from your days back in the Nordic region when Oregon was first introduced. And the reason it fascinates me is because apart from the vertical angle, which there isn't a lot of play to be found, there are a lot of different ways to attack onto this site. There are a lot of different options. You've got 4 realistic directions to push from, and that's actually quite rare in terms of siege sites.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it gives you so many options does open up possibilities, but often what you'll find is that teams will always pile in towards the north. They'll look towards construction, as DWG is trying to focus on right now. But looking at how close Mag's set here, he's got the shield down right in the doorway. He's got magnets. He's got ADSs. Their game plan is saying you will not even get a chance to get behind the barrel inside of construction, because as soon as you try and push through, we're bringing you down. And many teams, once they get in that spot, can start throwing grenades over. They can look at the utility clear. It's a very aggressive starting defense from FNATIC, and I wonder if this will start going down the same sort of path that we saw Vitality taking against BDS over in Europe yesterday, where the game plan is to waste as much time as possible to force the final execute to be a little bit of a panic point for the attackers.
Damwon stacking themselves up at rear stage there, but just thinking better of it, dipping away, looking for an alternative angle. But you're absolutely right, Des. The aggression that FNATIC are playing with here on the defence is no doubt slowing things down a little bit for Damwon, because where do you go from here? What do you do? Look at every piece of utility that tries to come in. One flashbang after another, it will eventually catch Mag. But we're in a position now where 1 minute 40 has been taken out of the round before the Goyo shield is detonated. By the time that fire burns out, we're going to be down to 1 minute 10, and still there is no progress. 5 versus 5. Damwon having taken no real meaningful control, only just now getting the hatch open inside of meeting. There's going to be an awful lot for them to do, and they've got to deal with Tex, who he's just dipped back down to freezer, but he's showing he doesn't mind getting around and hassling those flanks.
Because of all the utility stat that you had in construction as well, pretty much all the utility has been exhausted by DWG. Look towards the top right of your screen. They have no flashes left. They only have 1 frag remaining, and there are still shields on the boards. There are jammers on the board. There's barbed wire. Unfortunately, no C4 coming off for Lusty, but FNATIC have burnt through the utility of DWG excellently here with very little resource committed. And I say very little, sure. It was a shield, it was a couple of ADSs, it was the magnets as well, but they've gone through all the utility from DWG, which is going to make this a little bit of a sketchy ending. With only 20 seconds to play, they cannot afford to make a mistake, and they haven't even gotten key walls like this double wall into supply opened up yet.
13 seconds left to go, and this is going to have to be a drastic execute. We're going to see an absolute bloodbath as the push comes through. Lusty well alive. Tex joins the party. Rin and Quartered are the ones that go down. 4 versus 3. 2 seconds left to go. Diffuser's not going to go down, and that is the round for FNATIC. And just as we suggested at the beginning, Des, that aggressive approach getting right up in the face of the attackers from absolute second one won them the round. DWG just not sure how to get through that defense, how to start breaching it, how to start taking it apart piece by piece. And FNATIC, they used that 6th man, they played the clock to their advantage, they burnt through the time, and it was a great defense from them. I think if we're looking at what could DWG do differently there, I'd have liked to have seen potentially some of those other angles used that I talked about. Obviously, you said there's, generally speaking, a lot of the attention comes from the north side. Playing into that FNATIC defense, if you'd have chased down Tex on the roam clear, for example, got him cornered, finished him off, and started to move him through Freezer, maybe applied a little bit of pressure down Laundry Stairs. That's something that we see Team Liquid do regularly. It's Parlu who tends to push down those Laundry Stairs, and with a gun skill like that from the bottom of the stairs, he has an absolute field day cutting off the rotations sometimes. And I think if DWG had just explored that a little bit more, probed those other angles, FNATIC can't focus all on those singular directions.
No, I mean, the way it started out in that first round gives a lot of faith in the Twitch chat prediction, in the social prediction that, yes, FNATIC were looking like the stronger team, because it's the bare basics there for DWG, where they kind of rotated away from construction, then came back later on to expend even more utility to finally clear it out. And it was one of those, if you're not really going to bother using this side of the map, then what's the point? It's almost like they went for construction, changed away, decided, actually, no, we do really need construction, went back to it, and 100 seconds had elapsed in the round before they finally could even look at getting through the door of construction, let alone actually opening up walls like electric and the supply wall. So a bit of a stinger in the first round, but maybe it's small early day adaptation that needs to be seen. We'll see how the second round plays out as we now head to the second floor. Master bedroom going to be where things kick off, which should open things up a little bit more. Keen to see if FNATIC can give them some hassle here around Trophy Door, mind you.
Better from DWG so far. We can see Katsang making early progress into Master bedroom there. Mag's just going to relocate that Goyo shield. I think he's just happy that there's not going to be a push coming in through Attic. It certainly doesn't seem like that is a focus at the moment as Rin joins his comrades there moving into Master bedroom. So we've got a number of them stacking up now. They need to start opening walls. They need to start putting a bit of pressure on FNATIC. I think what DWG really need here, as simply as I can put it, is a couple of kills, Des.
Dare I say, it'd be a nice start to the round for them. And even with things like the Lion, you got 4 frags on side. There's still a lot to deal with, and they haven't even droned out what's going on down below. The easiest C4 in the world for Lusty. Clearly wanted a bit of vengeance after his C4 in the last round was shot out quite early. Let's bear in mind as well, in the opening 30 seconds, DWG had control of Master. They were inside of Trophy. Now they're finally starting to make something happen, but it's taken a good 60 seconds in which they've lost someone. They've finally traded back over, but they're almost stalling themselves out a little bit in Trophy here. And I'm thinking, sure, there's plenty of time to play, but let's pick up the pace a bit, boys, and make something happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely one of the major factors that needs to come through for DWG. Now, Tex is going to hit Quartered. I'm guessing that was on a run out. Yas tries to shut the man down, but cannot get it. He's actually downed on his way through the window, and Yas manages to move in and just finalise that kill, leaving us 3 versus 3. Better timing for DWG here. I will give them that. There is still a minute on the round. There is still time for them to do what they need to do, and that is a headshot from Yas onto Lusty up at the top of White Stairs. Now, I'm sure that there are warnings from some of the NA players that could go out about laying prone at the top of those stairs, Des.
We've all seen the meme, I'm sure, but they're even managing to push the weapon, find a second kill here as well. All in the back of Yas doing work for them. Goes in and gets the final 2 as well. I believe that makes it a triple in the round for him after that pick off on the wide stairs. Sometimes this is all it takes. Just walk upstairs and shoot some heads. Easy.
That's it. And that was much better from DWG. There just seemed to be a little bit more of a fire underneath them. They were keen to get in, get those kills. I think one thing I would like to see, Des, particularly in the early round, the first minute or so, is a little bit more awareness of the entire map from DWG. So both times we've seen them rush 4 men into rear stage and then sort of disseminate around the map from there, and we've just seen the same there. Everybody getting themselves into master bedroom very early. They got hit hard by a lusty C4 onto Catsign to begin with, and that's because they've not taken the roam clearance into account properly. They've not found where Lusty is. The drones haven't done their work thoroughly enough, and Lusty is able to then start hitting them with nitros, and they need to be aware of where everybody is located in the map, and if needs be, they need to chase them down, get the kills, or force them back to site. And if they do keep sort of rushing 4 men into one location, it could be dangerous for them. Beautiful replay. Thank you, production, there, just showing exactly how free that was for Lusty. So DWG, a little bit more attention around the map as well as the site itself.
A couple of flank drones, for example, or making good use of the droning phase wouldn't go too far amiss. Imagine maybe a little bit lax at the start of the second round in terms of what information they were looking to gather. This time, no doubt, going to be a little more cautious. But I will also give a nod to Lusty here, who got that C4, didn't hang around thinking, oh, I can definitely try and make something else happen here. He backed away, did unfortunately die on white stairs, as we saw, but at the very least, got back to site safely and managed to make something happen. Once more, he's downstairs, though, in basement, may find himself either creeping up through armory stairs or looking to threaten onto white this time around. I think trying to do the same thing twice would be a little bit suicidal, not really the play that you want to make, but at least trying to have this impact with the C4 in the round, always a key way to look at it. And they've still got 2 C4s on side to make use of in this round, at least, with Lusty still carrying the one, same as last round, and then Magnet here with 1 on side on the Goyo 2.
And it's all about, you know, maximising your utility, Des. As you say, it's about having an impact on the round with it one way or another. You know, these are all items that are in the toolbox of a good Siege player, and the best players are the ones who can get the most value out of every item in that toolbox, whether that be C4s, flashes, whether it be the new gadget that's been added in to clear out those utility. You know, it's all about getting as much as you can out of it. And right now, we can see that utility just being utilised to try and clear out. I'm not sure about that throw there. I think a flashbang just came back off the door frame, and look at that. We've got the 3 ADSs stacked up, and that just shows how committed FNATIC are to that defence coming in from the master side. And once again, Des, I'm seeing Lusty, I'm seeing Tex. They're out in the map, and they're not being closed down. They have too much freedom here.
Oh my word, they're having to go through frags to try and go through this now because they've burnt all of their flashes, and I'm wondering how on earth they still managed to put 6 flashes through this area and not yet managed to get away with it. Things are still being caught out. 1 goes through. In fact, that's a lie. It was the breach on the wall being opened up. They are yet to successfully get a grenade through because of the issues, the challenges that these ADSs are creating for them. And with the Thatcher ban coming out, it's no big surprise that a team every now and then may struggle. But I'm wondering at what point you just say, this is not going to work, guys. We need to rotate things out here and push a different angle, because all their utility, the Banshees, the ADSs, the Magnets, are all stacked here against Trophy Door. They're just basically trying to brute force their way through, and it has failed here 2 or 3 times in a row now.
It's about timing. It's about timing and getting enough utility raining in simultaneously to allow your nade to go through, because the ADSs now, as we understand, work differently. So once they pick something out of the sky, they are then inactive for a period of time. They won't pick a second item out of the sky as they used to previously. So where you've got 3 of them, that's going to be 3 items that are taken down. As you say, you've got to then factor in those Whammy magnets as well. But if enough goes in at the same time, you will clear it out. Now, that's going to be a kill for Lusty on the round, taken quartered down. Woogieman gets himself involved. Rin manages to find one, and this is turning into a bloodbath. Rin just goes directly route 1 into sight. That's a triple kill, and that puts the advantage to DWG. 2 versus 1 now. Rin is doing the whole 9 yards here, getting the diffuser down as well. Alphamas just going to hold himself back on the shotgun, finds the kill, and gets the clutch. 1 versus 2. Welcome to APAC.
Beautiful from Alfama to clutch it out in the end, but how on earth is Rin getting away with a play like that? Jumping in through big window, there must have been some miscommunication on FNATIC as to who was holding that window. The holes in the floor made me think that maybe someone was meant to be downstairs and didn't cover it off, but Rin jumps in, collects the 3k, and at that point you're thinking, oh no, it's round 2 all over again, like when Yas got the 3k, but thankfully Alfama, the GOAT, is sat there ready with the shotgun and gives them the round. That will be the round that maybe you look back on at the end of this matchup and say that was the difference maker.
I think it really could. It was a big play from Alfama. I mean, that for me, Des, is a great example of the experience that Alfama's bringing to the team there. There is no way that he doesn't hear that plant going down. He knows exactly what is happening at that point in time, but he also knows that he has the deployable shield in front of him and he has the SAS shotgun. So he knows exactly the point in time that he needs to catch that fight. He knows the distance and he knows how powerful a position he is in for a couple of seconds. If he allows Rin to create distance, then he's got a problem. He's going to have to switch to the SMG, which we know can be unreliable sometimes in terms of recoil. It's not always the easiest to win a gunfight with. And so he plays that absolutely perfect. Just keeps his angle narrow, uses the shield to create cover as much as he can, and uses his weapon to its maximum advantage.
I missed what triggered the rotation out of the members of FNATIC, because we did see 2 hanging around the bottom of white stairs, and I imagine the idea there was one of them was supposed to be watching the vertical angle from below onto the big window, but that lion scan gave DWG all the info they needed. It caught out the 2 players, and I mean, fair enough, if you want to kill the drones that way, it works just fine. It's only 1 for an impact, maybe not being used elsewhere. But again, I think for me, it was just the awareness of, right, the lion scan's found 2. Let's go in. They can't move. We've seen on drones where these 2 fixed players are. These are easy kills for Rin. Maybe FNATIC panicked a little bit there in that individual moment. It happens.
Mag doing his best there just to try and keep that Aruni laser gate active. Des looking to prevent the drone jumping through it, but that was not the case. Anybody who hasn't seen this gadget before, Aruni, of course, being new into the Pro League, if any throwable, if any drone, if any body, if anything moves through that gate, then it is deactivated for a period of time. And you can just see the sort of crackling utility up at the top of the door there. What will happen is, after that period of time has elapsed, defender will be able to just take a single shot, 1 bullet onto that, and it will reactivate the gadget. But for the time being, the path is clear for DWG, but the path is also clear for FNATIC to start raining a couple of kills in. Katsang and Coated going by the wayside, and once again, DWG find themselves on the back foot here and having to fight from behind. That's 3 on the round for Tex. Once again, Des, how many times have I commented about not closing down the roam, and this time Tex has hit him for 3. He's got 30 health left. He's got himself back to site safely, and that is the absolute dictionary definition of a successful roam.
You've done your job there, plain and simple. On the roam, it's often about wasting time. We commented yesterday for Vitality and commended them for wasting 2.5 minutes on the roam and then getting all 5 back on site. That was the successful roam. If you can collect any kills without dying on your way back, it is a monumental success. To collect 3 is a completely different conversation altogether. Tex has done wonders here, and if this round is given away by FNATIC, what on earth could have possibly gone wrong from that point onwards? Beautiful stuff.
Oh, I'd be absolutely amazed, Des. I mean, what I do like from DWG is that we did see a little bit less focus onto specifically rear stage and bunker. They obviously knew, given last time's events in round 1, that FNATIC had held that really high line and it had been difficult for them to penetrate. So they've sort of tried to chase down Tex. They've tried to go through these other angles, possibly a bit of attention onto Freezer. A nice slow peek there. Now then, Tex could be on for an ace here. We'll have to see whether his team decide to let him have a look at it or not. I mean, ultimately, the round is far more important than the ace, so I'm sure if somebody gets the shot, they'll take it. But Woogieman just trying to work his way in from pillars there to see if he can find any further kills here. Tex is just holding himself nice and deep and safe inside a sight, but I'm sure if the opportunity presents itself, he will take it. Now, Woogieman just looking to move through, shut down, and it is an ace for Tex. He finds all 5, holding a tight angle. Look at that, just past the bomb chassis. He's had an absolute field day in round number 4.
What I really, really like about FNATIC's play there, I mean, outside of the 3k on the roam, which basically won the round, but those final 2 kills, none were taken in isolation. It wasn't a 1v1, it wasn't a coin flip, there were crossfires set up. But even when the player crouch walked forward and found the player inside a supply, Tex was straight there a second, well, not even a second later, a millisecond later, ready to snap onto his head. Perfect trade-based play. No way they lose that round by playing behind the numbers they've got. Very, very smart closing round execution from FNATIC, who currently sit at 3-1.
Going to be heading to meeting hall and kitchen then. So a slightly different defense to the one that we've seen so far. There's going to be a lot of focus on rear stage this time. So that's the area particularly that you want to be looking out for. Generally speaking, what we're going to see from the top of your screen as you look at it now, there is a double soft wall. Lusty is going to start reinforcing it. Thank you very much, medics. And generally a lot of the attention is going to look at those 2 walls. So we've got the lower floor that heads directly into meeting and then the upper that heads into attic. So attic can offer a little bit of vertical pressure into the meeting site, but generally it is try and get the double wall open from rear stage, move in and get a plant on the stage. That's generally the focus of a push into meeting and kitchen. There is the alternative of trying to move in through small tower and dining and get yourself into kitchen itself. Slightly more difficult as you're dealing with more angles, basically, where you can be assaulted on the flank. So generally, that's why we see the push towards big tower and rear stage.
This is interesting as well, where actually they're putting a lot of focus on defending kitchen at the minute. No one really worried too much about what's going on elsewhere. And of course they are. Previously it was Magnet inside construction with a shield on the door. Now you've got a shield in big tower. That's a little bit of a new one that we haven't seen in a good while. And I think what you're saying is right about meeting, if that is the point of attack that we see. And when I think we first saw Oregon coming in, Na'Vi are a team that I think of that loved attacking the stage. But a lot of other teams over time have started worrying more about pushing into dining, for example, and going for a plant inside a kitchen. That's why you're starting to see more vertical holes coming out. Opening kill onto Stiggs, he's been shut down before he can really have any impact to the tower. Will, of course, missing out on those discs. And speaking of Stiggs, not having the best time so far, neither is Mag. Both currently sat on 0 and 4, so some work to do there. But equally, when you've got Tex and Lusty popping off the way that they have so far, you're not going to complain too much. They're doubling up on Big Tower as Magnet's now also here as well. C4 comes out and Woogieman has dropped incredibly fast away from that window. Does not want to get caught out by the C4. So drawing time and attention again. Yes, currently it's only 60 seconds and they are down a man. It's not really the greatest return for them, but at least it's something. It is drawing resource away from the sites.
What a shot from Lusty. Just takes a little bob and weave across the double window there and takes ahead with him. Coated put him in the dirt there. And 4 versus 3 as Mag manages to double down on that and find himself one onto Rin as well. And Katsang manages to just level things up a little bit in terms of the man count. Plenty of time left on the clock here, but I'm just a little bit worried that it's not really a completely cohesive push from DWG. We've had some attention to Big Tower. We've had some attention to double window and getting above dining, as you quite rightly said, Des, and not sort of working together on one angle. And I think they've just been caught out and picked up as individuals along the way by FNATIC, who've taken full advantage of that and managed to find those kills. So 1 versus 3 coming into the final minute. There's a lot of work for Yas to do here on 50 health.
Yeah, FNATIC has done a really good job, I think, of trying to set up a funnel here, essentially, where they've said, look, you can't take Big Tower because we've got the top of it. Magnet's now kind of assumed the position of Stig, showing just how much value they put on having that hole coming through, almost daring them to go jumping into Big Window and say, look, that is your easiest point of ingress to come in. We've got the bottom of White Stairs, or Zulu, as it's sometimes called, covered off as well. By all means, come in Big Window and we will shut you down. And DWG have just played into that like anything. It's just far too easy, I think, for FNATIC in this case to deal with what's coming at them. Yas is by himself, going to try and go for the plant, but the snap reaction that should come out the other side is pretty much immediate. Smoke grenade comes through, and not sure if that went off. Whether or not it did doesn't matter, because Mag is above through the hatch, puts him in the dirt. It's 4-1 to FNATIC.
That is a great start for FNATIC, coming in 4-1 now. They're going to look to finish off this phase really solid. One more defensive round for them. If they can get it, it will leave them 5-1 at the half. And you've got to say, Des, that is going to be an absolute mountain for DWG to climb. Now, we're going to be heading up to top floor once again. We've seen this site twice. It's the one site that DWG have had a successful attack on, where they've actually managed to put that one round on the board. And it's started out with that Lusty Nitro from underneath. If you remember, Des, they hadn't been thorough enough in the roam clearance, and Lusty was able to hit Katsang with a Nitro as they managed to get themselves established inside of Master Bedroom, but it didn't put them off winning the round. They managed to go through and close it out. Now, the second time that they assaulted into Dorms was round 3. Rin managing to move in through the double window and just a bit of a Hail Mary play, really. Got in there and managed to find the kills. It was fantastic play. Diffuser went down as well, but they couldn't lock the round out. Alfama in a 1 versus 2 just managed to use that experience to his advantage and turn the round over to FNATIC. So DWG, I think they're going to be looking for more of the same. A bit of double window pressure, a bit of Master Bedroom pressure, try and get the diffuser down. But right now, FNATIC, they're looking like a bit of a brick wall.
They are, and the problem is these brick walls, once again being formed in this round, look a lot like this utility stack. And I don't want to say it's kind of a throwback to the old meta, but it is starting to feel that way, where there are shields, where there's Malusis, where there's Wamai and Jaeger coming through, and really just looking to make a headache for attacking teams who rely on, these days at least, being able to kind of brute force their way through most setups like that. But DWG are running into it repeatedly and are struggling. It doesn't matter how many flashes they've got, how many frags they've thrown. I mean, they've had to use frags to burn through utility a couple of times over. It's just starting to sting them, where they're just then struggling to even have enough left for the actual execute itself, and can't unseat players with things like grenades from below because they have to be expended on utility instead. It's a real stinging feeling that they're getting, no doubt.
Quarter just collecting that shock drone there before moving on towards Master Bedroom. May well support trying to get the wall through to Games Room open, depending what utility has been used. Now, this time, we're having a little bit of attention towards Attic. If you remember last time, we had, I think it was Mag who was stationed in there on the Goyo, and he just repositioned his shield because he knew that there was no attention being paid towards that Attic push. But this time around, it might just change the direction that those FNATIC guns are pointing from. Now, Yas is very aware of the potential here, and what a great kill on to Lusty. That may just put Tex off as well. Yep, he's tucking tail and off he goes. He does not want any further part of that. Now, he might just choose to hold himself around down in for the time being. If he waits long enough, he might well catch DWG without the full awareness of him on the flank, but that's it.
Oh, no.
Come on, you've got to be very aware of that, Mag. You can't allow them to have those free shots onto your legs like that now. Coming through, out comes that nade utility. There's the kill onto Mag. Yes, he's having a great round here.
Mag should not have lost that. He was laid down under the scope of Yas and still doesn't hit the shots in time to drop him. Unfortunate, maybe a bit of ping playing into it, I don't know. But either way, such a crucial loss to go through. Alfama steps up big with a double kill on the shotgun, but gets traded out by Katsang just after. Sadly for Stigs, it's a 1 versus 3. It looks like the half is going to end at 4 and 2. Not a massive surprise, or, you know, out of the expected, I suppose, when you're thinking about the defensive side of Oregon. But I don't really see a way in which Stigs can upset the apple cart here and change it round, and now they have an even better idea of where he is. He's by himself, cornered inside of kids. Grenades are singing it around him. There's definitely got enough left in this round, and now a plant is going down from Katsang.
Katsang will secure that one, I think. Oh, Yash just stepping in and getting the kill before that can be confirmed. So Stigs is the final body to drop for FNATIC, and that is a round back for DWG. And it's actually a very important round. It was looking very difficult for them coming into the second half, but at 2-4, they now find themselves on defense. This is not necessarily the end of the world. I think 5-1 would have been a bit of a mountain to climb, but this is certainly possible. This next round, particularly round 7, is going to be extremely important. It's going to be our first opportunity to get a feel for exactly what DWG are bringing to the table in terms of their defenses. If they can look solid here, they bring it back within 1 round, and for all that good work that FNATIC have done, it will feel like DWG are breathing down their necks. So very important that they try to close out the laundry site here.
Get themselves off to a good start, I think. Otherwise, as you say, it's starting to slip away from them, and that you're starting to think, oh, 1 more round and we're at match point, and suddenly you're thinking overtime might be a thing. Obviously, the draw kind of gave some certainty to the team that hit 6 rounds that you knew you were at least going to get something for it. If not, left it feeling slightly bittersweet when you would eventually lose out. Again, not forgetting that if you go through to overtime, the winner does not get 3 points if you win in regulation time. Once you go into overtime, if you win, you get 2 points and the loser gets 1. If in normal time you win, you get 3 points, they get 0. So there's still a lot to worry about here because as we've seen so many times, the final couple of play days in the season, when it's 2 or 3 points between you and relegation or you in the major, you want to be absolutely certain that you've done all you can throughout the season to not let things like this slip away from you. And given how the game has gone so far, DWG have relied on, dare I say, one player, Yas, going big in a couple of rounds, getting 2-3 kills to himself and letting the rest of the team pick up the pieces from there. FNATIC, meanwhile, have had really good defenses, I think. Have had a couple of rounds where players like Tex have really stepped up, but overall it's feeling a lot more cohesive as a team piece.
A little bit of a difference here in the DWG defence compared to that of FNATIC. Not quite as much aggressive attention being paid towards Bunker. They do have the utility there. They do have the players. But if you remember, Mag was playing on that deployable shield right up in the face of the double door. And that is not something that DWG seem to have chosen to do. So there could be a little bit more sort of wiggle room there for FNATIC to try and get themselves established. But right now, FNATIC are very clear in their intention to get rid of these roamers. As I said, it was something I think DWG maybe just overlooked a little. However, FNATIC are not going to do it whatsoever. You can see the drone just buzzing around the feet of Lusty there and just guiding him in like a homing missile onto the head of Katsang as he manages to find that vertical kill. And that is one roamer gone and one good start for FNATIC in round 7.
I love how many opening kills Lusty's finding this game, by the way. Whether it's by C4 or by gun, he's probably racked up at least 3 or 4 so far. Getting involved early on, disrupting DWG, definitely helping FNATIC out in spades at this point. And again, when you're looking towards someone like Texas being the one with the most kills, can't forget Lusty's impact at the same time. We're about halfway through the round. It is only the mute that's been brought down so far, but look at Lusty. He's just holding these angles, waiting, saying, please do try and rotate back to side. Please do try and find something so I can put you in the dirt. It's not going to be a problem at all for me. And there it is, but he wins the shot. Knew that Lusty was upstairs, and Rin wins that one out, gets the second. He says, forget about Yas. This round's all about me and my 7 kills. Gets himself back to site. That is as an effective aroma as you will find because we're down 1:50 and there's 2 kills for DWG.
Fantastic play from Rin there, just really bringing things back into the favour of DWG. Like you say, it's going to take a bit of a hero moment from FNATIC now, potentially. 54 seconds left to go, still playing around the mid-floor, so no real progress made in towards that basement. And then now also face a man disadvantage as well. Alfama just starting to open up that laundry hatch, maybe try and apply a little bit of pressure, maybe just as a bit of a baiting technique, try and get some eyes on laundry, but it looks like he's heading back in that direction. So may well choose that push, and everything's just starting to feel a little bit frantic from FNATIC here, Des. You can just feel the movement of the players. It's all becoming very, very quick, very back and forward. They are trying to find something, anything at this point in time. They want to try and find the cracks so they can seep in like water, freeze and bust DWG wide open, but I'm not sure that there is any to be found. Alfama will get the kill onto Rin, but 3 versus 3, 5 seconds left to go. This is a bloodbath as the kills go in the favour of DWG. Woogie Man with the double to finish the round off, and that is going to be another for the new team coming into APAC North. 4-3 now. They are fighting hard against FNATIC.
Got incredibly smoky down there in the basement as what 4 smoke grenades came out. Good aggressive drops into freezer, for example, for FNATIC. Had the right idea, but just didn't have all the information they needed on where the locations of these couple of players were. No static drones to help feed it. Admittedly, quite hard to have on site, but just didn't have all the tools necessary to execute in the final few seconds. And we've spoken about this a lot in the last 24, 12 hours, whatever you kind of want to put it down to, call it 15 to 16. Either way, we spoke a lot about this intel-based game and what happens in the late stages of the round when it comes down to the final 10 seconds. You can't make any mistakes. The comms are chaotic. There's no time to course correct. Once they burst into supply and lose the first man, it's just a stack of dominoes from there as more and more run into the end of the meat grinder from DWG. That does pull things a bit closer though, now up to 4-3, and it's the start to the defensive half that we said DWG needed once we finished round number 6.
Okay, then this is game on at this point. We're going to be heading up towards dorms for round number 8, and FNATIC, They're going to feel the pressure at this point. They know they need to start finding rounds here on the attack, and if DWG can get themselves established on defense and take the first 2 rounds, level things up, all that good work from FNATIC in the early game is almost undone at that point. And if anything, you can argue that the momentum shifts and sits in the favour of Damwon at that point in time. They can really start feeling comfortable that they've got themselves a couple of rounds on defence, but also think about the bigger picture there. They're at 4-all. They've won Laundry. They've won Dorms at that point, and they've got themselves established. They can almost count on getting those 2 sites again, I'm sure that they will feel. So that puts them onto that magical 6, guaranteeing them overtime as a minimum. It's going to be a big boost for DWG. So I can't stress again how important this round is for FNATIC. They need to get this one on the board so that they have that feeling, they have that knowledge that they can unpick the DWG defense.
It's again the right sort of idea in the last round. It's just the 2 kills that really kind of threw things by the wayside for them, unfortunately. But this is what happens, and it happened to DWG in the first half. And we said, well, they're the ones who have now got to adapt. So it's on FNATIC, a name that, again, everyone is very familiar with. Seen them at SI a good couple of times as well. I think 2019, 2020. God, these things all blur into one. Where was it when they got to the quarters? It was when we were there, wasn't it, last year?
2020.
Was 2020, mate. It all blurs into one.
FNATIC had a great run in 2020. They were, you know, very much seen as an underdog team, and as you say, they just made great progress through the groups, and they were almost unstoppable at a point. And they also really sort of curried the fan favour as well. There was a lot of people backing FNATIC.
No surprise as well. A very prestigious organisation when you think about them that way too. Let's see how this round plays out though. 90 seconds in. No one's dead just yet. So they're more kind of calm pace in this round. No big explosive opening kills to kick things off. Admittedly, Lusty isn't running around with C4s anymore. So things are always going to be a little bit more composed. But you've got to be so wary of players like Rin who are looking to get out and cause trouble. I was going to say Yas on the Malusi might be a little more passive. But no. Without a C4 to use on site, all the agency to go out there and do what he does best and bring down such a critical execution tool for FNATIC. That Capital being gone means no more fire bolts. It means no more smoke bolts. That's such a pain to lose this early on.
DWG have really grown into this game. I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing. The first couple of rounds, I was a little bit concerned for them. FNATIC just really managing to sort of flex that experience on them. But I think it might have just been a case of a slow start from DWG. But they are certainly up to pace now. They have definitely stretched the legs and they are running in this race. They are not only running, they are competing here. And they could well pick up a game against FNATIC here. Do not be surprised if that is the case. Woogieman just piles on the pressure right now with a kill onto Lusty, and it's all going wrong for FNATIC as Katsan gets involved. That's how Farmer down. Sticks, he manages to do something, but he's lost a lot of HP along the way, down to about 30 on the Iana now. It could all be down to Mag as he tries to push in aggressively to Attic, but this is a very difficult defense to unpick this late in the round. 5 seconds left to go, and a lot of players remaining on the side of DWG. Out comes the Nitro. That's 2 for Woogieman. What a game he's having, getting the explosives involved, and that finishes the round. DWG, they level things up 4-4, and this is anybody's.
You know, dare I say, this is shaping up in a really similar way to how it did when we saw FNATIC in their first game against Scars, I think it was last season. Their first half on defense, brilliant. I think they were like 5-1, 6-0, I can't fully remember. But what happened next was when Scars went onto the defense, FNATIC's attacks just felt really lackluster. They were one-dimensional. They were all pushing through one hatch, for example. They were quite late in the rounds. There was no room for mistakes. We've just seen 2 rounds in a row without FNATIC really being stopped by tons of utility, them struggle to make something happen in the dying 10 to 15 seconds. And sure, they lost the Capital really early on. That was going to be a critical part of their execute with the areas and all you get from the fire, with the visions and all that you get from the smoke. Sadly, without that, I think the writing was already on the wall for them in that round. So maybe they'd write it off and then out to press forwards. But one thing's for sure, DWG are looking pretty damn good on the defense.
Certainly are, and the first question of the day has been answered here. Can DWG come in and compete with FNATIC? Absolutely, of course they can. Tick the box, we've got it answered. The next question to be asked of DWG is, can you keep your heads and push forward and get the win here? That could be the mark of a great team in the making. If they can just knuckle down now, keep winning these fights, keep the confidence high for me, just keep particularly Woogieman and Rin, let them do what they are doing. Keep them involved, because right now it is working. They are hitting shots. Yas as well, massively involved so far now, holding a tight angle. One just misses that entry. And I tell you what, you wouldn't have bet against it. But FNATIC, luckily, they managed to find themselves 5 men reaching the building. But they need to slow things down here, because this one is quickly going to get away from them.
Yeah, you're going to worry about the descent into madness here. The impact it has on morale as things slowly start to slide away from you. Rin being sneaky on the upstairs. I'm pretty sure they're not aware that he's actually hanging inside a game. Maybe more aware of the player, Woogieman, that's holding out inside of Kids right now. But if Rin holds this spot and isn't detected, this could really sting when someone comes running into that room, and it could quickly turn into another kill or 2 coming out for Rin. Oh my god, they have no idea. Surely he knows. He hasn't even got to move. They haven't droned him. They could have sprayed through the wall and killed him if they had any kind of information, but they simply don't have it. They will now spot him though on that drone. Lucky for them.
That is, again, just, you know, it's good siege play. It's doing the basics. It's getting the drones in before following in with a man, because that would have been a life lost. Simple as that. Now, Ring gets forced away from the top floor, so they're going to drop down underneath, I think, and just live to fight another day. But there is still a lot of time wasted. As we always say, the primary function here, Rin does lose the life, but it's going to be Mag to pick up the kill, but it's not the end of the world. The primary function of those roamers is to waste time. Now, Woogieman called him out before the round and just gets involved again. Headshot onto Lusty, and still fighting hard above that kitchen site in the dorms area, and they're certainly not going to relinquish that with ease. And right now they've done a great job. 2 minutes wasted, 1 life gone, and FNATIC, they are backs to the wall again here. There's no real progress onto site.
It's one of those where it's still the 4 versus 4 with 60 seconds to play, so they can start thinking about getting the top floor cleared. And now they've got that grenade onto Woogie, who was the last man standing on the top floor, is gone. That's going to help, but Yas trades it back from below with the C4. It's a 3 versus 3, 45 seconds to play. This is where FNATIC have started stalling out historically, and they've still got 3 frag grenades to play with. There is no Jaeger on field. There is no Wamai. They've got to make use of those and try and collect what they can. One has been used. Thermite coming down on the wall to get things opened up and start thinking about going for a plan inside a kitchen now that they've got that vertical control, but they need more time to re-drone here. This is where no mistakes can be made.
25 seconds left to go, and the execution has to be happening soon. We can see that FNATIC are trying to get themselves into position, but once again, it just feels like a little bit of a scramble for them. We can see the nade raining in from Stiggs. That's going to be his last now then, as he tries to push. Kat Sang is going to win with the shotgun, flips to the SMG for the final kill, all bookmarking Yasser's. What a great round from DWG. What a great defense. That is 3 successful defenses in a row, 4 rounds on the bounce. This is going well right now. FNATIC, they need to be slowing things down and trying to figure out what they can do differently.
Well, the thing is, Ace, I don't think they can slow down, because repeatedly they're getting into this, final 20, 30 seconds and being absolutely clapped when it comes around to execution time. The ending of that round then, the coordination from DWG needs to be commended. The crossfires that they had set up, the collapse at the very end as well, the panic from FNATIC again, kind of 1 or 2 members are trying to get into a spot to cover, one's droning, one's not sure what to do with the frag. It just looks chaotic in the closing seconds, and DWG are looking like a team that have been playing at the top tier for a while in this defensive half. Even though FNATIC were looking good on their defensive half, DWG are simply looking better.
Some very sullen faces on the side of FNATIC at the minute, Des, and I'm just wondering exactly what impact the last 4 rounds have had on the mental game there. It's certainly looking like it has been significant. There doesn't really seem to be anybody taking that situation within the team by the scruff of the neck, trying to buoy everybody, trying to get everybody back energized and into the game to win rounds. It does all just seem a little bit subdued at the minute, which is understandable given the way that things have gone. DWG really turning things around, flipping the script here, and just coming all the way back from what was a difficult deficit. Let's not forget, FNATIC were 4-1 ahead at a point, and now find themselves without another round to their name, 5-4 behind, and on a difficult attack. That was the site, Des. That was the one where they needed to turn it around. They're now back down to Laundry and Dorms. That's what they're facing, and DWG have won both of them comprehensively on defense.
Well, Backs against the wall for FNATIC. It's time to take some action and change something up here. You'd hope with the introduction of Alfama, it would have given that kind of flair that maybe they needed. But we've commented on it already. Stigs, 1-8 so far in this game. Impact, very minimal. The same can be said for Mag. The other three are working to it, but on the other side, you're looking at Rin, Woogie, and Yas's impact. They've all been doing wonders for the team so far in the game. Let's see how it plays out, though, first 60 seconds in. Yas playing on the roam has also got Katsang nearby. Their roam play hasn't been aggressive as what we saw out of FNATIC, but my God, has it been effective.
That's exactly it. It just goes to show, you know, you don't need to cover miles and miles on a roam game. What you need to do is be in the right place at the right time. The right place to stop the push, wherever that might be, just to make the attackers think twice so that you are close to the action, but not so close that you're in immediate danger. And then also it's about your timing. You can hold that position for as long as possible and then move away. How can you get onto a flank? When can you time that? When can you catch them unawares? Maybe later in the round when they're starting to have to rush because they know that there is work to be done. And that was exactly what happened last time on this site from FNATIC. With about 30 seconds left to go, they were still completely on the middle floor, Des. They'd made no progress downstairs, and that was a big problem for them. This time around, we can see Alfama. He's getting that laundry hatch open much sooner than last time. So FNATIC obviously recognising that that was an issue. But at this point, DWG, they've now retired themselves back downstairs. That was a beautiful nade from Tex, and what a view we had of it.
Singing downstairs and catching out the key man that they needed to unsettle for them to start getting this push on and to catch out Yas, the top fragger for the team in the game. Never going to be one that you complain about. They've got a couple of hatches in the control. They've got Freezer. They're now looking towards meeting. So a bit of a split side. Normally you see that it's Laundry and Freezer are the two angles that you push from. Max managed to kind of crouch walk his way in around here, and look at where they've got themselves positioned. He's inside of Laundry. They've got Freezer. They've also got meeting under some control as well. So FNATIC are really going for this all points push. Something we don't see that often. Normally it's everyone committing to one direction. Katsang goes aggressive, but Tex, the little rat, is on the ground, finds a double kill for himself. Alfama with another, and it looks like FNATIC have managed to pull it off this time around. Crossfires of their own setup, get the entry kills they need coming in through Laundry, and will finally collect themselves an attacking round. That puts us all square at 5 apiece, and I'm starting to feel, Ace, this might be the overtime that we've been looking for.
I think it could be. I don't know what it is with us, Des, but we have just followed from the Team Secret G2 game last night, which was every bit as tense as this, straight into one. First thing that I'm very conscious of using my time zone. First thing this morning for us, but I understand in the APAC region, it is the evening that you guys are enjoying this, and what an enjoyment we've got. Look at Tex there, 14-6, absolutely flying. He just needs his team to step up around him and give that little bit extra. They just need to find something. But Des, we are 5-5 on the scoreboard, and I want this match to go on forever.
It could do with the way that it's so back and forth. It isn't the most predictable, I think it's fair to say. We've seen from both teams where it started out with FNATIC looking like excellent defenders who could put up a stone wall that DWG couldn't get round. They do finally start getting round it. Flip over to the other side, DWG also look infallible. Their own play has been excellent in the last round. FNATIC came at them from 2 or 3 different directions. Was it a risk to spread so thin? Absolutely, but it paid out for them big time once they committed 2 or 3 members to go pushing through Laundry. Just tried to stretch DWG thin and not give them time to breathe. Paid out wonderfully for them. We're seeing Tex back on the old faithful here and playing on the Kali as well, something we saw from him quite a little bit last year. Let's see how much damage he can do with that.
So a pretty standard setup coming in. We've got attention being paid towards Attic. We've got Yas downstairs on the Malusi, just looking to maybe make a nuisance in and around Big Tower there. That's one to watch out for as the game goes on. Exactly where is Yas? Let's not forget there is a Nitro. Oh no, there isn't a Nitro in hand. Yas has opted to bring the impact grenades, so probably not going to be playing underneath. If we look at the team in general, there's 2 Nitros in the hands of Coated and Woogie Man, so there is plenty of explosives on the board. Let's not forget, last time DWG defended this site, it was actually the Nitro that finished the round off. Woogie picked up a great double with the Nitro out to A, stop the plant going down, and B, finish the round with kills. It was a wonderful explosive play, so we'll see if we get any more of that. Now, DWG taking a leaf out of the book of FNATIC as well, and just piling up the utility on that wall into Trophy just to prevent any push coming in from the Master and Armory side, especially trying to clear out that deployable shield. We've seen how vital that position can be, just on the corner of the kids' room there, just preventing the defenders getting that angle angle. If you can remove that shield, that's what you need to do. But they're going to keep hold of that with everything they've got.
Similar sort of vibe where it's about how aggressively can they hold the peak coming out of Cat saying, my God, you're taking a risk with Fate there, but there's two of them. Again, crossfires from DWG have been excellent in the second half, and they get another one set up to bring down Alfama as he tried to do something, not quite sure what, through gaming, maybe trying to find a kill to help his team out, but ultimately they lose their life. However, his job is done. The wall is open, so FNATIC can start thinking about either pushing through there or looking in through the trophy doorway.
1 minute 18 left to go. FNATIC need to find themselves a couple of kills. I sort of touched on it earlier, but this is actually a very difficult site to attack onto in a late round where there are still 3 or 4 defenders left. Imagine it like an onion. There's layers to peel away to this defense, and that final layer, that core of the onion, is back in the general dorms and kids dorms area, and it's very, very difficult to push into that final core if you are limited in time and you don't have a man advantage. So FNATIC, they need to be finding something here. 45 seconds left to go. Lusty, he's just moving around. He's looking to potentially get in position on those windows, but it's going to be Yas who finds the kill onto Sticks. Now, Lusty does manage to make something happen from the rappel. He is a terror up above. I'm not sure he's aware that there's somebody playing on the window, and Rin is going to dip away and just live to play their life later into the round. 3 versus 4, 25 seconds left.
I think DWG are a bit too dug in here, and another one dies trying to push into game. It's Woogie this time rather than Coated picking up the kill. I think one on windows. Lusty swings his way around, kicks up Woogie. So a bit of a trade coming out, makes it a 2k for Tex as well in the round. Oh my God, catches ahead of Coated, who took over the old spot. A 1 versus 2. Tex on 15 kills has got 4 seconds to do it. They're downstairs. There's no way he's going to find them. It's going to be DWG going to 6 rounds here and putting us up to match point.
Simple as that, and uncharacteristic there of Mag just missing a few shots there. I think we've seen that across the board with FNATIC. I don't want to get too critical, but just he was in there, he was on the game's breach, and there was just a few shots that if they land, he gets the advantage and he's able to move into sight. But no, completely shut down, and DWG, they are taking every opportunity that they can get. Fantastic play from them.
Jumping back to us for a second, there's no doubt for FNATIC, tactical timeout being called. Something that has been added this season is you can call a tactical timeout, have a discussion, get your heads back in the game and figure out what needs to be done to win. And we saw this come through yesterday. I forget the match we were casting, but it came out and we were like, yep, they've been slapped 2 or 3 rounds in a row, called the tactical timeout. Next round, they came in and flawless the other side because they'd worked on those issues in the timeout. So it's nice to have this kind of addition, but it gives us a nice chance to look at the game state there. I think in that round, especially for Lusty, I was like, man, on kids, there's 2 people laid down right in front of the window. A slither of more information. They could have got 2 kills. That round could have been done and dusted there, but sadly didn't quite manage to pull it off. That probably is the way that I can summarize a lot of FNATIC's game so far, has been a lot of maybes, a lot of chances, but not quite getting the finished product.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case, Des, and it's much like I mentioned with the, we've seen a few gunfights where they just haven't managed to land that final bullet, where they've just missed a couple of shots along the way. And we are talking about fine margins here, but it is costing them in the long run. Now, look at the position they're in. 6-5 down, match point. They have to win this round to take us to overtime. We're going to be heading to meeting and kitchen now. That's an interesting choice. DWG do have laundry available to them, but they've chosen not to go down to the basement. We did see them defend this in round 9, if you remember. They did a very good job of it. There was a long time for FNATIC to clear the top floor. They couldn't get themselves into position quick enough, and ultimately DWG again punished them in the late round. So that's again something I'm sure they're going to continue to try. They're going to try to just keep FNATIC away from those key areas for as long as possible.
Yeah, meeting is definitely a little bit of a gamble, but then equally maybe basement would have been as well, because in round 10, that's when FNATIC kind of cracked the puzzle and figured out their way to attack that site. And maybe DWG is saying, well, we've got nothing left in the tank. There's nothing else we can really try and surprise them with here. They'll do the same as last time and likely succeed. So let's instead try and go for meeting, where we haven't seen it as often. If you remember last time, there was those really good crossfires coming out of DWG right at the very end. That's all the good stuff that you want to see, even with 3 kills on the side for FNATIC at the time, I think, and the time that DWG wasted on the roam on the top floor. So they feel they've got it down. It's on FNATIC here. The onus is on them to adapt and figure out the response to what they've already seen previously. And really, I'm thinking for DWG, the advantage currently lies in their court.
I'd absolutely say the same. If we look, they've won 5 of the last 6 rounds. That's the reality here. FNATIC have been really struggling to put numbers on the board in the second half of this game, and that has to play into the mental game massively. DWG, they feel confident coming in here. They really have had the run, and once again, Lusty coming in on the entry and taking big damage, and that is an area that whilst they have picked up the kills, the cost has been high for FNATIC, Des. They've been coming in on the entry battles, and as I say, yes, they have entry kills under their belt, but they are losing a lot of HP along the way. DWG are giving them absolutely nothing for free here, and this time Lusty, he takes a big chunk of damage and gets absolutely nothing in return for it. We've still got 2 DWG players rooted to the spot up in dorms, refusing to be moved right now halfway into the round.
Yes, on the big tower stairs here could be massive spoiler. He's got the C4. I think he needs to blow it open. Not too sure if he will want to commit for that, but I'm not sure what he's thinking of playing, but the opportunity that he's got to potentially cause a massive spoiler here could be one of great pain. Trophy, again, is kind of the point that we've had FNATIC focusing on. They've also taken control of Highway. That's where the focus is going to be, and it makes total sense. He is going to see for it. Now, surely they must know. They must turn around and put focus in towards this wall. Tex must hear it, surely, when this gets opened up. Otherwise, this could be absolute hell on earth for the side of FNATIC.
I'm not sure if he's just detonated it. There is an explosion, and in goes Yas. Can he find one? No, Tex alive to the danger. He just flips a 180, gives him the turn and burn and shuts down both. That's going to find FNATIC 5 versus 3. 50 seconds left to go. They need to be very careful that they don't allow the clock to become another enemy that dominates this round. Time is ticking away second by second, but they are close to gaining access to site. They need to think about the objective and exactly how they're going about getting that diffuser down on the ground if required. As we can see, DWG have actually fallen back away from site here. Rin will get a kill, but that is traded straight out by Lusty. 3 versus 2 as Katsan gets in on the action. Diffuser going down. Can Alfarmer stick it? Yes, he can. Katsan gets a kill to level things up on the man count. 2 versus 2. Diffuser active. Courted moves in, gets the kill onto Alfarmer. It is all down to Lusty. Low health, finds one. Can he find the second? This is a 1 versus 1. Both are on low health. Whoever wins this gunfight wins the round. There's about 20 seconds, plenty of time for Katsan. He doesn't know where the man is, moves in, and Lusty strikes in the back and finishes the round to take us to overtime.
So hard there, but you're just not quite sure which way to peek, but Lusty wins it out in the 1 versus 1. The clutch by him in the post plan. That's what you want to see if you're FNATIC. 6 and 6. We're going to overtime. And you can look at this as they're both losers or they're both winners. They at least walk away with points. No team gets the full 3 points, but at least there's an opportunity here to get that small edge ahead of the competition. But, I've got to talk about Yas's flank. You see for the wall open. You've got the right idea. You walk around the corner, exposing yourself to the enemy, un-ADS'd, and are halfway through an ADS as the book already has you under his ADS scopes and puts you in the dirt. A bit of a slip up by Yas there, and a bit of an uncharacteristic one as well that no doubt he'll be kicking himself for, but the idea was correct. FNATIC just had the execution down to a T and were more than prepared for what DWG were going to throw at them. All things being equal, looking at how it shapes up with DWG starting on defense, something tells me we're going to all 15 rounds, but DWG should ultimately walk away with the win.
It's going to be a tough one, Des. They certainly do have the advantage, as you quite rightly say, but FNATIC have just managed to find a little bit of pep in their step over the last couple of rounds, winning 2 of the last 3. They've won Laundry, they've won Meetings. Dorms is the one, Des. Dorms is the nut they need to crack. This is where they could find themselves a massive advantage. The question is, do they have a big enough hammer to crack the tough shell of DWG here? FNATIC, it's not necessarily the end of the world. As I've said, they've won Laundry, they've won Meeting in the last 3 rounds. So let's theorise. If DWG take dorms here, FNATIC then have a defence. They came out of that 4-2. They did very well. We'd expect them to probably take Laundry. It was their best site. Try and get that one locked down. That levels things up then at 7-all, and it comes down to a final decisive round. DWG then have to take Laundry or Meeting, one of the 2 sites that FNATIC have just beaten them on. So this one really is on a knife edge, Des. This is stood on the precipice now, and who's going over the edge?
That's what you want from all of your T1 games, mind you. You want not just T1 as in the team Tier 1, but T1 as in Tier 1 games. This is the kind of
going to be difficult through the season.
I'm never saying T1 ever again. I'm saying tier 1 from now on. This is what you want to see, this level of closeness, this level of competition in the region, not just from an established org that's been in the game for a long time, but also from a fresh one. We love seeing fresh blood. We love seeing fresh ideas being brought to the fore, and that's what we're getting in this game. 60 seconds in, no one going down, no craziness, no C4s coming out, no run-outs like we've seen from Yas a couple of times. I say that, and I thought it was someone else about to do it, but no, it's Lusty. He's an attacker, not a problem.
It's just the excitement, Des. We're up there. We're on the edge now. Anybody going through a barricade, you're like, is this a jump out? They're going for it. It's just too much excitement at this point. 5 versus 5, nearly halfway into the round. We are defending with DWG up in dorms. FNATIC just looking to make sure that that lower level is cleared before they start pushing up. Now, there is a ping coming out there to let them know that there is a player inside of Kitchen. The question is, what can Rin do? Rin can do everything that DWG need with a kill onto Lusty. Great entry. Perfect timing from them there, and that is a massive advantage. Ring goes big with a double, finds Tex as well, and this is certainly advantage DWG. 5 versus 3, and nothing can be done about Rin right now as they go wild in the kitchen.
My word, I mean, looking between them all across, there's a triple kill coming out as well. This is now starting to stack up alongside the likes of Yas, who we said have been dragging this game through. Now Rin, they're stepping up in the same fashion. We've said this already once about them today, I think. 3 kills in a round. You essentially put the GG in chat straight away. This round's done and dusted. DWG have cleaned up on the defense. All they've got to do now is survive the next attack, and I say survive, they're probably going to lose it because they're going onto the attacking side. But if it gets to round 15, another defense like that, please, and this game is yours.
Rin has just had an absolutely outstanding round from the kitchen there. He has done a great job for his team. It's exactly what they needed. That is what you require out of your fraggers. You need them to step up in those difficult moments and just make the round easy for you. And that is exactly what happened at that point.
Ooh, well, FNATIC, let's see what you can do back on the defense. It feels like it's been a while. So here, they've got to turn some magic on. We've seen the extended aggressive defenses that they employed inside of construction. We've seen the early C4s coming out of Lusty. That has been their bread and butter, as well as the stonewall that they formed with the Wamai and the Jaeger combo against DWG on their attack. We need to see more of that. We need to see that level of proficiency. Otherwise, DWG, with the confidence they've built up in the second half, may just roll over them.
Certainly might. Coming into the most important round that we are going to see today. This is DWG's opportunity to close out a big early Playday 1 win against FNATIC here in APAC North and really catapult themselves up the table to begin with. It'll be a dream start, Des. There's no other way of putting it. DWG will have known that they were coming into a difficult matchup today, and to be able to walk away the victors with 2 points with an overtime win here would be massive for them. But there is a big stumbling block to get over before that point, and that is overcoming the FNATIC laundry defense, which we've seen twice so far and has been watertight. They've been fantastic, really aggressive up in the faces of the attackers, not giving them any breathing room, and DWG right now need to find a way through that.
What is this? Tex. I was commenting on their aggression, holding things like construction, but here they've got a run out coming out of Tex. They've got one hole in the doorway towards the east side of Big Tower. They find the kill, and like kids that have just stolen candy from a sweet shop, they run away, giggling to themselves, back to the site, content with what they've collected there. A kill onto Woogie and a denial of a hard breach. That will make it a little bit harder, I think, to get everything open that the side of DWG need. But thankfully, I think because you have the headbanner with the changes currently in where you can change the number of pellets, getting things like hatches open and a couple of walls shouldn't be too big a deal.
Certainly shouldn't be. Now then, 1 minute into the round and things just slow down a little bit for DWG. That early run out from Tex having its intended reaction, basically. That is exactly what you're looking for with an early play like that. You just want to take the wind out of the sails of the attackers, and that is just what it feels a little bit like for DWG at the minute. They just need that injection of energy that a kill would bring them, possibly Rin getting in there on the Ash and having that big entry moment again that we saw back in the previous round, round 13. It was a great start for them, and They just need that hero play at this point in time. Quartered moving down, could be spotted out here. There is, I think it's the Jaeger, yes, of Tex just holding by the side of pillars there now. Quartered looking to try and clear out that barbed wire, but the range is just slightly too great there. You're going to have to be a bit braver. You're going to have to move a little bit closer if you want to get rid of that utility.
They're in a spot waving down a man there. Not looking terrible right now. They are getting the hatches opened up, but FNATIC have just got to sit pretty. They're on site. They've got no real thing to worry about here. Sat in some of the perimeter rooms and just saying, look, come at us when you're ready. We're happy with the way things currently sit with 60 seconds remaining, a bunch of utility being expended. The only thing I'm mildly worried about for FNATIC is the fact that there are still 3 frags remaining here and flashbangs to clear through any utility they need to. If they can place these grenades as well as FNATIC have been doing in their attacks, this could actually bring things out to being pretty equal pretty fast. I'm almost half saying, let's see it go all the way and see Tex break over some kind of record for the number of kills in an online tier 1 match.
It's getting to that point, isn't it? We're not a million miles away, but there is a couple of minutes to go yet as Tex gets another added to his total. He's certainly getting up there, but Quartered with a big double. 2 versus 3, 25 seconds. Diffuser in hand as Quartered is an absolute one-man army at this point. Yas gets in, but shut down by Alfama. This is all going to come down to Quartered. 15 seconds, needs to look for kills. Finds one. It's going to take a 4K. Can he find Alfama to finish this off? Can he get the Diffuser down? Which option will he take? Is he going to stick this? He's got the deployable shield next to him. That might just offer a little bit of comfort now. We've seen Alfama allow that Diffuser down once before. He's going to have to make the push. It's predicted, but he wins the fight! Quartered was ready for it, but he just didn't predict the strafe of Alfama, who hits his shots once again when FNATIC so desperately need it. And he's going to move in and disable the Diffuser. And we're going all the way, Des. Every single minute of this one.
Jesus Lord wept. 2 rounds. We commented on this back, I think it was in round number 3, that we will look back at the end of the match and say that clutch from Alfama made the difference, because if he hadn't done that back in round number 3, the game would have been over once we reached the end of regulation. Now in overtime, if he hadn't done that clutch, the game would have been over in overtime. Twice, the new player for FNATIC has stepped up and saved the game for them. We go all the way to round number 15. We are blessed or cursed, whatever you want to call it, Ace. I feel like every single game we have stepped into in the last 24 hours has just been an absolute screamer.
Siege is taking years off my life, Des. That's the this happens to us time and time again when we cast together. We end up with these max overtime games that are just, you know, absolutely rammed full of tension, and I'm not sure how much my heart can take, but it's going to take this one. Don't you worry. We're going to bring you all the action from this final 15th round as we head downstairs. Now, I just want to make a point that was quite interesting, Des. I was watching DWG for exactly which site they were going to pick, because obviously I commented if we got all the way to 15 and they had to defend again, they had to take Meeting, or potentially they could have taken Dining, Meeting, Dining, or Laundry. Now, Meeting and Laundry are both sides that they have lost. It's just the strafe. It just doesn't quite react quickly enough. It's a bold move from Alfama. It's brave, but it got the job done. And as I was saying, you know, they have to take a side that in regulation time, they actually lost Meeting and they lost Laundry. Those were the last 2 defensive sites that they lost to FNATIC. They had Dorms sandwiched in there as a win, but they didn't pick up a win on either of those sites. So it was always going to be a difficult 15th round for DWG to come in here and pick up a site that actually their last memory of defending against FNATIC here is a loss. So they're going to have to do something different.
At this point, it's so hard to call which way it goes. Admittedly, again, a couple of clutches from Alfama have kept FNATIC in the game. And DWG, a couple of rounds they've had. Yes, Rin in round number 13, a great example of the kind of clutch that can win a round for you by default. One more of those, please, no doubt, is what the team is screaming. However, it will potentially deny Tex away from breaking that 20-kill barrier, depending on how this round plays out. You are right about the basement. Let's see how things shape up. Otherwise, talking lineups, there isn't really anything worth shouting out that's changed massively. I do love how much we're seeing Yana in both regions over the last 2 days. Most maps and most rounds have seen one brought along because frag grenades plus the Gon 6, plus essentially unlimited drones through the gadget. A very, very versatile operator at the minute in terms of what she brings to a lineup.
extremely useful, as you say, you know, can quite easily replace small elements of other operators that might have been the key for them being in the lineup, and just might free a spot up and allow you to, you know, bring something a little bit different. Now, interestingly here, I think, Des, that this is largely going to come down to this entry battle. I think whoever can pick up the first kill or two and get themselves an advantage will then run away with the round. It's pretty much what we've been seeing. Where those entry frags have gone down, teams have then really followed it up with a strong performance. Now, Woogie's just going to keep his eye on those freezer stairs, and he's quite right too, because Stigs is located down at the bottom. It's once again that multifaceted push that we've seen out of FNATIC when attacking the basement, and it's something that I love to see. Now, I tell you what, DWG will love to see, Des, and that is Yas stepping up and getting that first big kill onto Stigs. Iana gone, utility gone. That could be a real key moment in this game.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but you've killed the guy who's got 2 kills across 15 rounds. It's probably not the biggest impact. Yes, you lose the frags and whatever else might come along with that, but I can't imagine the crying too much over spilt milk in that case. It's about the rest of them. The big gunners on the side like Tex and Lusty that they need to be worrying about and what their impact can be as the round wears on. But in typical FNATIC fashion, they're leaving it until the dying seconds of a round. They're 4 versus 5. There's 30 seconds on the clock. They need to make this work. Out come the smokes. We've seen them do this before, and they got shut down once they came for the push. Mag's inside. There's 2 of them pushing in, but they don't know about the player in Boiler. Down goes 1. Down goes 2. They might have just done it. FNATIC are about to fall to the new team. Down comes Tex, finds 1, makes it 20 kills on the map itself. 4 versus 2, but here we go. It's Woogie stepping up with 2 kills to close it out, and you can see the excitement. They're out of their chair. They know what they've just done. They brought down a team that everyone was excited about this year. DWG have arrived.
Oh, that is a big, big start for Damwon here in APAC North. No two ways about it. Fantastic result for them to close out FNATIC and to take 2 points. They don't get the full 3 because it went to overtime. FNATIC will pick up 1 point as the overtime losers. And honestly, Des, I could not see a fairer reflection on how that game has gone. Both teams have delivered some scintillating siege for us to enjoy today, and really, you can't make an argument that they didn't both deserve something. Glad to see, though, that DWG have really announced their presence here in APAC North.
Yesterday, we kicked off EU for 2021 with Na'Vi versus Train Hard on Chalet, a new map, explosive game. Today, we come into APAC and get a 15-round slobber knocker between these 2 teams. Man, if that's anything about what Siege is going to look like for the rest of this year, I am all for it. I'm loving what we're seeing, and I'm pretty sure our analysts are as well. Let's go over to them and get their thoughts on this matchup.
You know it, Des. We are all over game number 1.